The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Speaking podcast. What's going on? It is recording this literally the day after the election. Things are pretty, in my household, a little more somber. Of course, the folks who, of course, support Trump, of course, and we're going to touch on that in a second. We're going to have on our good friend of the show, conservative commentator Torrey M on the show to review the results of last night. And the shock, not so much, the result wasn't shocking. I guess more so the shocking part was just the votes that came back. By the way, if I look tired right now, I apologize. I am running literally on 3 hours sleep from last night. I stayed awake till 4 a.m. watching the results because I'm a fucking madman. I love politics. I told y'all this is my Super Bowl election night, but I stayed awake till 4 a.m. and I had to work this morning still. I had to record a podcast at work for an hour. Then I had to go do my regular job for another 6 hours. And I came home, had to deal with my kids, pack lunches, make sure the dinner is all set and all that. Haven't had any rest since. I tried to get in some content. We did some content when I got home. And I'm exhausted. I probably should take a nap, but we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna fire through. I'll rest tomorrow. It's another day. Thank God we have that. Thank God for life. But before we bring in Torrey on the show, I want to review because right now we're at the midway point of the NFL season. Week 10 starts tomorrow, or by the time this podcast goes published into your ears, will be actually the day of. Week 10 starts tonight, whatever you want to call that. So I want to review. I know last week with Kyle, we actually touched on this last week on the Student Game Report. Being, of course, we did mid-season grades for each team, and we did a week early because of scheduling conflict. Because he had a similar thing he's doing on his show this week, and he want to cram both in the same week. So whatever. So I decided, let's go check in. Before the year started, when we do a season preview, we always check in with our where we're at. We do over-unders. We pick the over-under win total into the year. So I want to see where we land at right now. Where are we right now through 10 weeks? Like how are my chances looking of getting the prediction I had on each team? So we'll do that right now. This year when we did the preview, we went through divisional order. So we'll keep it the way we did it in August, and we'll start the NFC East. Philadelphia Eagles over a number right now. Entering the year was 10.5 wins. They are currently 6-2. I feel pretty good about my prediction and getting the over. I had the over on that one. I feel pretty good at my prediction on getting that. They are currently 6-2. Like I said, they have I think they're playing. Oh, they're playing Dallas this weekend. They should win that game. That Prescott especially too. I think barring another collapse like last year, should be a problem. They've been playing much better football in the last month or so. They seem to be figuring out all of their issues. So I feel good about that one. Dallas Cowboys over on number also 10.5 wins. They are 3-5. They ain't getting there, buddy. They are not getting there. And this season has been a disaster for the Cowboys. They're 3-5, and you can argue that it could be worse, honestly. You know what I mean? So, Washington Commanders, 6.5 wins was the over/under. I had the under in that one. I lost that one because they already hit the over on that. So the 7-2 right now. Dream season for Dan Quinn and the boys. Jane Daniels right now, my rookie of the year. Dan Quinn, arguably coach of the year right now for the Commanders. Great job there by them. New York Giants, over-on number was 6.5 wins. I had the under. They're 2-7. That under looks pretty good, to be honest with you. They're absolutely god-awful. Easily worst team in the division. They're one of many 2-win teams in the NFL right now. Currently, I don't see getting over 6.5 wins, and I'm looking like I'm gonna be right on that one as well too. Even though I am a New York Giants fan anyway. Oh, hold on, I screwed this up. Hold on, sorry about that. All right, NFC South, Atlanta Falcons. Over number entered the year was 9.5 wins. They are currently 6-3. I think that's going to hit. They are right now commanding lead down the NFC South after a slow start for the year. Tampa Bay Buccaneers over number was 7.5 wins. Jet 4-5. I think they still get there. The only issue is that they have a lot of injuries. Mike Evans has been out a couple weeks. I know Chris Godwin's out for the year, so it might be a challenge. They've been pretty frisky this year, but at the same time, we'll see. I think they'll get there to the over. I had the over as well too on that one. New Orleans Saints over a number of 7.5 wins. I had the under. They are currently 2-7. They're gonna be snug on the under. They've lost 7 in a row. They already fired Dennis Allen. They're a disaster as well too in New Orleans. Lastly, the Carolina Panthers over a number was 5.5 wins. I also took the under in that one. They are 2-7 as well, and they're gonna probably stay on the under most likely. We'll see. They had some weeks to be competitive, but I don't see them getting over 5.5 wins. All right, NFC North. Sorry about that. I'm running to my computer and my phone right now. NFC North. Let's start here first. Detroit Lions, who over number is 10.5 wins. I took the over. They are 7-1. They're gonna get there. They are, in my opinion, right now, they are the best team in football. In my opinion, they are the best team in football. I'll even right now, based on performance, power ranking style, I'll put them over the Chiefs right now. Green Bay Packers. 9.5 was the over under. I went over on that one. They are 6-3. I think they'll get there. I also believe they are a tier 2 team in the league right now in terms of contenders. They are tier 2, probably a team I believe I said earlier in the year that will likely be in the NFC title game. I still feel good about those chances right now, based on the conference right now. The Minnesota Vikings 6.5 wins was the over/under number for them. They had entering the year. I went under. They're already 6-2, and they're obviously going to get there at some point. They may get there this weekend. They play Jacksonville, so surprise year for the Vikings. I'll get that one wrong as well. Chicago Bears also 8.5 wins was the over/under number. I went over in that one. They are 4-4. They started record-wise. They started 4-2, and they've let's just say they've petered off the last couple weeks. So yeah, I'm questioning whether I see 5 more wins. So that might be in jeopardy as well too. All right, NFC West. The Niners over number was 11.5 wins. I went over. They are currently 4-4. They ain't getting there. They got around the table pretty much, and that ain't happening. All right, all those injuries, that ain't happening. So I will be wrong on that one. The Rams 4-4 right now. The over number was 8.5 wins. They're currently 4-4. I had the under. They're healthier now. Can they stay healthy? That number, they might still get the over to stay healthy, but that's going to be on the fringe there. They need 5 more wins. So we'll see how it goes. Seattle Seahawks number was 7.5 wins. I went over on that one. They are currently also 4-5 right now. Again, they might get the number because they're so inconsistent, but the schedule isn't as brutal. So we'll see how they go. I think they might still get there. They're definitely an 8-win, 9-win team max at this point. All right, last team, Arizona Cardinals, also 7.5 wins. I had the under, and they are currently 5-4. They may get there, although they are very, very back on the high also too. So we'll see how that plays out. I think I'm going to lose that one as well too. I had the under, and they are closing in on the over with 3 more wins. All right, let's get to AFC West now. Kansas City Chiefs. 1 second. Let's just change over to AFC. So Kansas City Chiefs, 11.5 wins is the over/under. They're now currently 8-0. They're going to get the over easily, as I had. The question is going to be where does their first loss come? Probably Buffalo next week. We'll see. LA Chargers, 8.5 wins the over/under. They are now currently 5-3. I think they'll get there. You know me. I'm a Jim Harbaugh disciple. I believe in Jim Harbaugh, and I think they'll get there. The Las Vegas Raiders, 6.5 wins the over/under. I went under in that one. They are currently 2-7. They will not. I don't think they'll get there. They're really selling out parts so far this year. The quarterback situation's a mess. Antonio Pierce, a big letdown so far as first year coach of the team. Hope he's another chance to turn it around, but we'll see. Coaches, owners these days are very impatient in the NFL. All right, last team here, Denver Broncos over number was 5.5 wins. I went over on that one. They are currently 5-4, so they're just one way from getting the over, and I was right on that one. And I think as long as they don't lose out, they'll get there. They're better than we thought. Even though I don't have the over as well. All right, who's sorry, I'm exhausted. I apologize, guys. Houston Texans, 9.5 wins was the over under. I went over. Texans right now currently are 6-3. They'll get there. They're a good team, not a great team, not Super Bowl team, but they're a playoff team. They'll get there, and they're probably a 10-7-ish team, in my opinion. Jacksonville Jaguars over number was 8.5 wins. I took the over. The Jaguars right now are a dumpster fire. Right now they are 2-7. They will not get there at all. I have the over. I'll get that one wrong. The Colts 8.5 wins the over on number. I went under in that one. They are currently 4-5. This is gonna be kind of weird because they are right in that 8-9 win range also too. They've another team's kind of frisky, could win on any given Sunday. Joe Flacco's the quarterback now. How long will be the quarterback? The team responds better to Joe Flacco. We'll see. Lastly, the Tennessee Titans number was 6.5 wins. I went under. They are currently 2-6. I don't think they get there. They're terrible. They're arguably the worst team in football. Arguably, definitely the bottom 3 team in the league, in my opinion. All right, AFC North. Bring this down here real quick. All right, Baltimore Ravens, 10.5 wins over under. They are currently 6-3. They'll get there. They're a tier 1 team, Super Bowl bubble, top 3 team in the league. Defense is pretty bad though, but I mean, their pass defense is pretty bad though. But they got Lamar Jackson, they got Derrick Henry, both MVP candidates. They'll get there. I'll get the over in that one. The Bengals 10.5 wins the over under. They are currently 4-5. Boy, for them to get there, they got to win out, and I don't think it happens. Well, no, they have one more loss to play with. I don't think they'll get there. I think they'll be a max 10-7 team. I had the over, so I'll lose that one. All right, Browns 8.5 wins the over under. Went over. 2-7. They're done. Not happening. Disaster year. Deshaun Watson sucks. He's out for the year. James Winston had one good game and then came out the earth real quick. All right, last team 8.5 wins for the Steelers. Steelers 8.5. I had the under. They are right now 6-2. They'll get there. Everything's falling in place for them now. Russell Wilson's playing good football. Everything's falling in place for the Steelers. Might be the sneakiest team in the AFC. Really, be honest with you, with that defense, anything's possible. All right, finally, AFC East. Buffalo Bills 10.5 wins over under. They are currently 7-2. They'll definitely get there. They are running away with the division right now. They have a 4-game lead plus tiebreakers, so really 5 games. Yeah, they run away with the division. They'll get the over easy. The Dolphins, the number was 9.5 wins. I took the. By the way, the Bills. I'm gonna be wrong on that one. I had the under. Dolphins 9.5 wins. I took the over. They are 2-6. Definitely not getting there. Obviously, they got to pretty much run the table to even get close to that. I don't see it happening. The Jets. The number was 9.5 wins. I took the over. 3-6. Doubt they'll get there. At max, they max out probably at 7-8 wins. Not happening. I don't see it. So I'll be wrong there as well. And then finally, the Patriots, 4.5 wins the over under. They are at 2-7. I can see them getting. I could see them getting the over. I wouldn't bet on it still. They're really bad. I will say Drake May has been pretty decent so far. He hasn't been great, but he's given the offense some spark for the Patriots. I'll give him that. So that's that. So that's where I'm at currently in my over-unders. MVP right now, I'll go Lamar Jackson. Although I will say Josh Allen. No, you know what? No. I'll go Josh Allen because the Bills have been phenomenal. I'll probably go Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson in the mix, obviously. Derrick Henry in the mix, obviously. And I think another guy you got to give credit to also for MVP, TJ Watt. Steelers linebacker TJ Watt has been phenomenal for the defense, holding that defense down this year so far while the offense got together when they got Russ Wilson back in the lineup a couple weeks ago. So another guy you got to consider. And then coach of the year for me, I said Dan Quinn earlier. But I think Mike Tomlin has done a phenomenal job in Pittsburgh. What he's done with the quarterback situation, holding that team down, the defense in that division. So I will go between Dan Quinn and Mike Tomlin. People will say, well, what about Dan Campbell? I mean, we kind of saw this coming with the Lions, really, but we'll see. Andy Reid, maybe, yeah, but that's kind of, that's kind of like, yeah, Andy Reid, we know how good he is. There's no big deal there. So, that's that. Super Bowl bubble right now. I've had to pick my Super Bowl bubble right now through 9 weeks, entering week 10. And you guys know when I define contenders for the Super Bowl, it's teams. Do I see this team making the conference championship? Do I see this team playing in the conference championship game? In other words, do I see the Dolphins? Well, no, not the Dolphins. But do I see the Bills playing the AFC title game this year? Is it possible? So my Super Bowl bubble really is 5 teams. It is the Chiefs. It is the Ravens. It is the Lions. It is the Eagles. It is the Eagles, and then the 5th team is, I forgot. Hold on. Team for me: Chiefs, Eagles, Ravens. Oh, the Bills. I have the Bills. I see the Bills playing the AFC title game. I think it's very possible. I do have a couple teams on the cups. I'm looking at the Steelers on the cusp. I'm looking at Bengals are weird because the Bengals get hot. I can see them playing the AFC title game at some point. So that wouldn't surprise me because of Joe Burrow but their defense is pretty bad though. I don't see Houston in there. And all Texans fans get mad about that. I don't see it happening. The Chargers are good, but not yet. A year or two too early. Looking also at that's it. The Niners get healthy, maybe. Packers, the Packers are the team also I got there as well too. But right now they're kind of like in limbo a little bit, so I'm a little bullish on the Packers. And then the Commanders are a great year, but I'm not ready to get the Commanders they're just due just yet. They got to win a game that matters, which we'll know in these next 2 weeks. Steelers this week, Eagles next week. So that's that. All right, time to bring in Torrey to talk some politics and Trump's shocking win yesterday over Kamala Harris and what went wrong for the Democrats, and the Republican Party has changed. The party, the tent is growing, and we're going to discuss with Torrey right now. All right, we are joined now by our friend of the podcast, conservative commentator Torrey M with us. Torrey, what a night! You and I look worn to the to the I don't know what word I'm using. I'm just exhausted. I don't know what to say. We are tired, light skinned.
We are putting in the work. We are putting in the work.
How you doing,
it's
brother?
Good to see you, man. It's good to be back. It's good to see you. Doing well.
Last night's results. What shocked you about last night?
What shocked me? Well, I think the last time we were on, we talked about the state of the race with Kamala coming in and how close we thought it was going to be, and the trouble that Trump was having connecting with some conservatives, and talking about the rhetoric, and man, a lot happened between then and now. It culminated with what I think most people think was a pretty shocking and surprising returns on the election. The thing that shocked me the most, honestly, is how well Donald Trump did in the blue states, right? I'm not as much surprised as the coalition with blacks and Latinos, and I think the suburban white women. I think that's kind of a surprise as well. But really, more to the point, when you started to listen to the returns, states like New York, Illinois, New Jersey, solid blue states. Never mind the blue wall. I mean, we're talking about steadfast states like New York and Illinois, where he cut into Kamala and the Democrats' lead. That's something I was not prepared for. So Donald Trump, for better or for worse, has a mandate from the American people. They have overwhelmingly said that it's time for a change, and Kamala and the Democrats, unfortunately, their message fell flat.
the clue was there early on too for me because I pretty much know these maps like pretty accurately in terms of like not just like what goes blue, what goes red normally, but also at what time approximately they're called.
Hmm.
The big clue that I really missed on, and it hit me to like probably 11 o'clock at night, it was like, wait a second, they haven't called New Jersey yet. What the hell's going on here? New Jersey hasn't been called yet. Normally at 9 o'clock, New Jersey is called for the blue candidate, whether it's Obama or Hillary or Biden or Kamala. And I'm sitting here and I'm worried about Virginia. I'm like, they haven't called Jersey yet. And that's when I knew, like, yeah, there's something. I think Trump comes to the lead.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was
that
intense.
was the clue.
It was intense. It was a long night, but actually not as long as we all thought it was going to be. If
No.
that's the thing. I mean, it's impressive. Listen, we talked about the candidates a few months back. We talked about both their deficiencies. We talked about what we wanted to see in both candidates. And I think when it came down to it, you had Donald Trump, who, in his own unique and unconventional way, connects with the American people. His message resonates. It makes sense, and especially in the climate that we're in with the economy and immigration, um, his message makes sense and it resonates. Despite the constant barrage of attacks from the left and Hollywood and the media, I mean, the legacy media. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest, right? I mean, it's done, right? I mean, if you didn't think it was done before, you got to believe that they really have to kind of do a 180, or their credibility is out the window. But he managed to take um, the situations that are going on in America right now and turn it on its head and resonate with people that um, they were willing to look past so many deficiencies, right? From the left, from the center, and even from a lot of Republicans.
Mhm.
He was able to tap into something that I think that a lot of people overestimated. And to be honest, and I think we talked about this before, Kamala was just not a strong candidate.
No.
She
No.
just she was not ready for the moment.
No. And again, we discussed this at the time back in August that we understood, you and I, why they did the look. Removing Biden was the right move in the highest slice because I was saying it 2 years ago that Biden should be removed. Okay, and she didn't run for re-election. Okay, so the only reason they decided to do it now is because the donors coughed the money. Let's be clear about that. Okay, which is bullshit in itself. The reason I said I only said defended Kamala being able to run was because it was definitely the more prudent decision because of the money in the war chest. It was only transferable to her, and they had fundraised a lot of money at that point. I would prefer the primary anyway. We both agree to that. The
Right.
most democratic thing to do is to do a primary. I'm with that, but I understood the the prudent nature of, okay, well, we have the war chest. Her name's on the ticket. It's only transferable to her. I get it. Whatever. It is what it is. Having said all that, I thought she ran a good campaign, not a great one. She made some mistakes here, of course, going to View and not covering her own positions, not saying what things she would do differently from Biden. That was a mistake. I thought a bigger mistake, honestly, and people said I was wrong for this on Twitter, but I still stand 10 toes down on this one. Cozying up to Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, and the Cheney family. I'm sorry. I'm fine. You get endorsement from the Cheneys, it's fine. Anybody can endorse you. I get that. But to have her stump for you, on your campaign, the daughter of who many believe and still say to this day is the worst vice president in the history of this country, is bad optics, man. It is bad optics, and I would argue it's not the reason she lost. There's a number of reasons she lost, but I think that certainly didn't help her cause.
Kamala's problem from the jump was her she was too micromanaged. When
Yeah,
her fixed response about the economy, starting out with, I was born in middle class family. I mean, that became, a meme, a joke, right? And nobody seemed to stop her and say, just be genuine, right? I mean, she just, for whatever reason, was so handled and so forced and fixed in her responses that I think it just fell on deaf ears, right? I mean, again, Say
Hmm.
what you will about Donald Trump, the man is genuine, and sometimes to a fault, and sometimes you just go, God, what is he talking about, right? But you know that he's genuine, at least the way he presents himself. They micromanaged Kamala so much, and to her, it's not entirely her fault. I mean, she was put in a difficult position, right, with trying to defend the threat to democracy when she was, implanted into the role without a democratic process, right? Trying to be the agent of change and trying to say we're
Right.
not looking back, but you are the face of the last 4 years. So they were not able to, I think, get her loose of that, and I think the other problem too is this tiptoeing back and forth between the far left and moderate Democrats, right? We can argue about Josh Shapiro and Tim Walz. Tim Walz was a disaster. That was a
Yeah.
complete disaster. Um, but when you hear her talk and you hear her try to explain herself and how she tried to dance this line between not committing to the far left's position on things and moderate Democrat, it never came off as genuine. Nothing she ever did or
Yeah.
said ever came off as genuine. Everything felt like rehearsed and scripted, and it just wasn't genuine. She
Yeah.
just did not connect with people, and it showed. It showed in a way that I like you said, I don't know that a lot of people expected it to turn out that way, especially in New York and again, New York, New Jersey,
Yeah.
Illinois. Never mind the blue wall.
And I think it's common. I think it's a combination also of Trump continuing to gain increase the coalition. I think he doesn't get enough credit for that Republican tent that's always been known for being about evangelicals and white rich billionaires. That is no longer the party anymore. It is a bigger tent. It's safe to say that Trump has transformed the party now, right? It's safe to say that now. We can now say that unequivocally that he has transformed the party in his image.
There are definitely tea leaves that would suggest that. I'll push back a
Right.
little bit on that, in that I
Well, okay.
think
Why?
that again, because we've talked about how I think a majority of the country, even though we're a bi-party country basically, right? We have two choices essentially. I don't know that people are that married to the Democrat brand and the Republican brand, in as much as, like we've talked about before, people
Right.
just want common sense solutions and want people who are going to fix the problems, right? I think you saw that in the exit polling with blacks, Latinos, and women. You have a party, the Democrat Party, who not only takes that uh, voting bloc for granted, but continues to insult them. You got Barack Obama, right,
Hmm.
who just castigates black men. You've got the ladies on The View castigating women. You've got
Hmm.
MSNBC and CNN
Don't get me started on Joy
making
Reid.
making
Don't
fun
get
of
me started on Joy Reid.
Latinos,
Yep.
making fun. I think you saw an electorate who consumes that media, consumes social media, has to say, listen, we'll give her a chance. Let's find out what she says. But for every opportunity that she had to advance, she had an entire construct working against her by com- constantly making fun of other voters. Now, you and I have talked about this before. Like, we're not blocked into these voting blocks, especially not now, right? It's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. um, People are free thinkers, and they should be allowed to be free thinkers, right? Blacks, Latinos, women don't always have to vote on abortion. Blacks don't
Yeah.
always have to vote on handouts, right? Latinos don't always have to vote on being scared about being deported.
Right.
The Democrat mindset, for as long as I can remember, and as long as I've been a voter and been paying attention, which is why I'm not a Democrat, is because that's always the
Right.
assumption from the top down, right? And you had it on full display this time with Hollywood and with the press and with, like I said, with Barack Obama. They drag him out here because he's the great orator and he was, has all this clout. And what does he do? He goes out and he looks at all these black men and say, well, you don't want to vote for Kamala because you're being misogynist. Now, maybe a small percentage,
There's
but you
definitely out there, of
you
course. Yeah.
but you just blanket it to every black man in America. So why wouldn't a hefty portion of Black America listen to him and say, "Listen, you don't get to speak for me like that. You can disagree
Right.
with Kamala's policies." And again, more to the point, and this is where I think Democrats are going to be in trouble, and because
Yeah.
after like you, I stayed up all night. I have not been asleep
Yeah.
since I think
Look at us, man.
Monday, right? I
Right.
am on fumes. But the autopsy this morning from a lot of the left, because that's what we did. We how are they going to respond to that?
Yeah.
Very rarely, if anybody, did any kind of self soul searching for the Democrat Party. Like when Republicans lose, we always we sometimes we get upset and whatever, but it's always a lookward inward. What did we do wrong? What message did not resonate with the American people? What can we do better? How do we do better with reaching out? How do we do better to listening? No, we didn't get that. You had Al Sharpton, you had Joy Reid, you had Joe Scarborough, you had the ladies of the View, Sunny Hostin, who might be the dumbest person on television. If not for Joy Reid, they may be like battling for that title.
She's really annoying. She's really annoying. And I watched the View, and she's annoying.
Constantly,
Her and
first
Joy
first
Behar just annoy
instinct,
the hell out of me. Sorry.
first instinct, you're racist, you're sexist. You're racist, you're sexist. That's the only thing it can be. Nothing about policy, nothing about, well, you know what? Maybe there are 50 million, 70 million people who don't subscribe to your way of thinking. So instead of trying to say, hey, listen, we need to listen to you because obviously the message that we're carrying, the identity politics, the, pushing on abortion, listen, there are Latinos in this country who have a problem with illegal immigration. They don't want people skipping the line. There's no shame in saying that. There's no shame in saying there are Black Americans who don't want to have welfare handed out, and want to run on legal weed, right? That's okay. We should be able to say that. We should be able to have that conversation and not be talked down to. And I think that's where the
Right.
Democrats overplayed their hand. They got really complacent. They got excited because of the polling looked like she was going to, make this move, and they've been running this line about Donald Trump being a threat to
Hmm.
democracy, and he's a Nazi and he's a fascist and anybody who
Right.
votes for him is trash and all this. And you get to a point where you're just like, I'm tuning it out. You know, the vote now becomes a protest vote.
Yeah.
Now you've got a lot of those people going, I don't even like Trump.
Correct.
I don't even necessarily want to have another 4 years of Trump. But what
I
I
know you
don't
don't. You've been
want,
very critical of him.
well, yeah, I mean personally, but just as a voting block,
Yeah.
is to say, you have pushed me too far. You pushed me too far. I cannot support you, and I don't want to be talked down to.
You've been a very, even as a Republican, you've been a very big critic of Trump for years, and in time of knowing you, and you were on the fence about the direction you were to go in. You had said during the primaries you were a Nikki Haley supporter actually at one point. DeSantis first and Nikki Haley. Now where the party's at now, where do you Tory fit now? Do you fit in this non-modern Republican Party? Do you see where you can fit now with now? I mean, this is now Trump's party now. I mean, this is now Trump's party now to a hilt.
My
Where do you fit?
position, well, so again, my position continues to be the same in that I think the government that governs least governs best. I do think
Right.
that, I'm all for low taxes. I'm all for stimulating the economy. I'm all for all of the above energy approach. I'm for deregulation where it makes sense. I think there's a lot of common ground that we can reach on a lot of issues. I'm fine with federalism when it comes to abortion. I think that they overplayed their hand on that. There's a lot of issues that I think we can reach common ground on if we just talk to each other and just we can agree to disagree on things, but um, we can have that conversation. Now, as to the party, Donald Trump has a mandate. It's something that um, I was not expecting with the House, the Senate. I mean, the House isn't closed yet, but let's assume for all intents and purposes that the
Well, I'm
Republicans
assuming
will
there's
keep
going
the
to
House.
go red as well too. Right.
We have the Senate, and we have the executive branch. So for 2 years, he's made some lofty promises. I think he learned. I'm thinking that he learned from the first 4 years or 8, yeah, 4 years, that he's got to govern a little differently. I think that he's going to benefit from the fact that there won't be impeachment impeachment, right? He's only got one
Yeah.
term. This isn't a matter of like trying to throw him out of office. The Russia thing is done. I don't think there's anybody that's going to fall for that. So I, I feel like this is going to be an opportunity for Donald Trump to govern in a way that he is not withholden to Washington insiders, to you know, whatever it is that he stumbled with that first term. And to be fair, the economy was great. There were a lot of good things post
Yeah.
pre-COVID,
Yeah.
so he has an opportunity to repeat that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that the country sent a message that we want to go back to how things were 2016 to pre-COVID, when things were really well, and he was able to accomplish that despite everything else that happened. A lot of those distractions are going to be gone now, so he's got to put his money where his mouth is. I'm willing to give him a shot.
I do think also too. You look at the coalition he's built in this time around, especially too. This has been building little by little for the last 8 years anyway. Like the black men going to Trump and going to Republicans in general. Obama was scolding them a couple weeks ago. In a stump in PA. The fact of the matter is that that trend goes back pre-Trump. That goes back to
Oh,
Obama's
yeah,
2012 run.
absolutely.
So people forget that. People forget that this has been going on for now 12 years. This is 4 cycles now. This is not. I'm not going to say it's an Obama problem, but it's a Democratic messaging problem. And again, the data bears it out. It shows that.
You can
And
argue,
and
yeah.
happening, and the same number happened again this year. It's shown the numbers. 5% again went down out of the party. So again, that's the situation now. The coalition is bigger now. So now it's a little different. I do think it's going to be interesting to see how he governed the first 2 years because again, House again, Senate again, whole nine, and the difference now between 2017 and now is that he has the wind towards him now because he has popular vote. He knows he's
Here's what
popular.
I Yeah, here's what I do think. I do think that I don't believe that we're looking at some sort of radical right wing agenda. No Project
No, no,
2025 nonsense. I don't think that that's on his plate. I do think, for all intents and purposes, Trump is an all of the above uh, approach to the executive leadership, right?
yes,
Obviously he's going to play to the base as far as where conservative values work. But I'm one thing I'm not afraid of is the end of the republic as we know it, right? I mean, we didn't have any wars when he was there. I think that he is a peace through strength commander in chief. So I think there are a lot of positives there, and the alternative was the last 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, which I don't think the country would have made it. Not just, and I don't mean that in a hyperbolic way, but I mean that in the division way, right? I mean, what people don't realize, and you touched on this briefly, but man, these last 4 years, and even the last 12 of the last 16 years, how we keep getting pulled farther and farther and farther and farther apart.
yeah.
Maybe with what we've seen in the electorate in 2024, the exit polling and how the data has shown out, it's like, again, when you and I have talked about this before, folks want to come together. They want to come together. They want to rally around something that's positive and that is solutions based. And that's the message that I feel like the country sent both parties, right?
And more than
You don't
anything, but something that's real
a-
that feels authentic.
and you don't have to, again, you don't have to like Donald Trump. You don't have to love Donald. You don't have to be a MAGA Republican necessarily to say, listen, fix the problem. Okay. These guys are not interested in fixing the problems. They're creating problems, and then they're pretending like they weren't there. Right. Like people got sick and tired of that. Lied to your face every day. No, crime numbers are down. Right. No, the economy's great. It was such a disassociated ideology that I think people, again, just went, what are you talking about? Nothing that you're saying is playing out in Main Street. Like, you in elitists,
Right.
rich folks are doing fine, but you can't tell somebody that the economy is doing great when you're spending $200 on groceries that 4 years ago cost $100, and energy costs are through the roof, and people are putting everything on their credit card. It just, the disconnect there is so big between Democrats, especially the elite class and the working class folks, that
Hmm.
it's not a surprise. So Donald Trump has a mandate, like I said, not just from Republicans, but from a lot of center right and independents and probably a lot of blue dog Democrats. That
Yeah. Yeah.
he has an opportunity to do something really great.
He has the opportunity to really be transformative now in a real way,
Absolutely.
where we look back in 10, 15 years that as polarizing as he is personally, this coalition he's put together can make a lot of ground, and look back like, wow, that was a movement. That was a movement that really changed some things.
You know what it also
So
speaks. You know what it also speaks to. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but
no, go ahead.
and you and I have talked about this before. When you break it down, when you pull out the hard left, the hard right, when
Hmm.
you pull out that 10%, the 10% on the other side, we have so much in common. We have so much in common
Yeah.
as Americans, right? The middle of the country, even people in New York and California and Florida and Kansas, we have so much more in common than we do that we differentiate. And you have an elite class and a media class and social media that's constantly profiting off of trying to keep us apart. You and I've talked about this ad nauseum, but here again, it's played out where the last 4 years, everything is about trying to keep us apart. It's encouraging, um, as a little scary as it is to give the keys to Trump and his group again. It's encouraging to see uh, the returns the way that they came back. Like folks are like, you know what? It costs too much for groceries in New York. It costs too much for groceries in Florida. Gas is too much in Illinois. It's too much in Nebraska.
Yeah.
There's a lot that we have in common and we want to get fixed. And like I said, it's an opportunity for him to do something really great for the entire country, not just MAGA Republicans.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. And I'm gonna say something that's kind of controversial. Politically speaking, for Democrats, and we'll get to the Democrats in a second, and the autopsy and what's next for them. A lot of the stuff, like the trans stuff. Look, I'm for trans rights and all that stuff, human rights, all that. But politically speaking, it's an anchor. It's an anchor,
It's
and
about
I
it's
think
about the presentation,
the
though.
Trump ads that,
Yeah, go ahead.
of course, and the thing is too, also, when you look at the ads that are played, again, people like you and I are different. We are plugged in 24/7, 365. We are political hunts. We love politics like we love sports. We follow this every day. We're not the normies. Normies are people who go into their job. They're not engaged like this. They'll, okay, Trump won. Okay, seen 4 years. If they even vote in the midterms, you know what I'm saying? And they see what's being put out there, or what's represented, and they're not going to do the extra research. And you see the Trump ads, which was very powerful, and you talk about all the trans stuff in there, and it sticks. It just sticks, and people want normal. You know, people don't want
Well,
women.
they want common sense.
People,
That's the
they
thing.
want,
People,
and that's the thing, and the numbers bear out again, whether
and
you like it or not.
we don't have, again, we haven't had the real hard truth conversations about some of the social issues, or
Yeah,
a willing to acknowledge that both sides have points. Right? That's, again,
yeah,
that's what's missing in our discourse. We don't You can have your opinion. You and I can disagree vehemently on something, on an issue. We can disagree on abortion. We can disagree on trans rights. You have your positions that are
yeah,
formed from, whatever your background is. I have mine. But the problem is, I don't have to you don't have to be wrong in order for me to be right. Where's the at least listen to say, hey, listen, you and I may not agree, and we may
mhm,
never agree on this, but I have to at least acknowledge the fact that your ideas, your positions come from a place that means something to you. Mine come from a place that means, so let's at least try to acknowledge the fact that, listen, because I believe that, Trent, maybe it doesn't make sense that we have biological males compete in women's sports. Do you understand why I feel that way? And I understand why you feel that way, because you have an inert feeling that you were born
mhm.
the wrong gender, and there's okay. I can accept it. I may not understand it, but I can accept the fact that you feel that way. Can you
Yeah.
accept the fact that I feel like it's a disadvantage, right? But we don't. Those are non-starters.
Yeah.
So again, like you said, there's a lot of things that came up in this election. There's a lot of things that have come up in the last 4 years, and I think to the Democrats' detriment, they spent 4 years telling everybody on the right, center right, and just telling them you're wrong, and you're wrong because you're X, Y, and Z. People just got tired of it.
Yeah.
They
And
got
I think a
tired of
lot,
it.
and I think the comment was also not so much her fault, but too many pitfalls. I said, and I'll say it again, and I was right. I hate to say I was right. Gaza, Michigan, Trump won by 4 points in Michigan. Gaza folks did not come out. In fact, in Dearborn, the biggest populated um American residents there, Trump got 42% of the vote.
Hmm.
The Arab mayor did not, Democratic for the record, Democrat mayor in Dearborn did not endorse Kamala Harris. Okay, and I said this last year on the podcast that Gaza is going to be one of the pitfalls for the Biden or eventually the Harris campaign, because again, there's too many pitfalls, and yeah, that one of the things that played out, But I want to ask you this last thing before we get you out of here. The Democratic Party, because obviously Republican, but we also follow politics as a whole. We are also watching things, and
For sure.
to me, this is a very low point for the Democratic Party, and even more lower than 2016. Because 2016, you could say, well, you know what, Trump won the election, but Hillary won the popular vote, so you still had you still have numbers. 2020, people say it's stolen, people say it's not stolen. I don't know, whatever. This to me is I'm thinking about the last time I can say the Democratic Party was at a low point like this was probably after Jimmy Carter lost to Ronald Reagan in 1980. When you look at the numbers, I'm not saying that Trump did the whole Reagan wall and the Reagan, all the red states, all that. Well, that was 84 though. But anyway,
84.
but it kind of feels that way when you consider everything Donald Trump went through in the last 4 years since his last administration. Almost getting assassinated twice. The court cases, all that, and yet, not only does he win the election, not only does he win the House and the Senate, he wins the popular vote by pretty decent margin. And for the first time, this is the first Republican has done this in 20 years, and the first Republican has done it in this way in almost 40.
Hmm.
That this has to be a wake up call for the Democratic Party, because the messaging, what to next, what's the next direction. I think it's safe to say that if they are smart, anyway, I don't know if they'll do this because they are so, they say one thing to another. This could be the end, the official end of the Clinton, Biden, and maybe I'll even say to some degree Obama era influenced Democrats. I think if Democrats are going to redefine their party moving forward, those three names have to kind of not be part of the equation anymore. What says you?
No, I hear what you're saying. I think that, and like I said when we started, um, the autopsy for the Democratic Party needs to start looking inward. The GOP, every time we lose the midterms, we lose election. We talk about messaging. We talk about what did we as a party do wrong? What didn't resonate with the folks?
Yeah.
For those folks to come out this morning on the left and instantly jump to the identity politics
Mhm.
and call half the country racist, call half the country misogynist, call half the country xenophobes, attack interracial marriage, right? Reverend Al, well, they don't want to vote for somebody with an interracial marriage. Okay, JD Vance's wife is not the same race.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't make any sense, right? They they got to stop that. They
Yeah.
gotta
You
they gotta stop
you elected a
pointing
two-term
fingers
black president,
at
two-term president,
Americans.
popular president. You elected a vice president literally 4 years ago. Read a room. It's time to read a room, guys.
You've got to
I'm
start
with you.
talking about policy and why your
Yes.
policy makes more sense. You know, they
So
they just
let me ask you
they
this, Torrey,
yeah.
because that's cut you off, because that's the big thing here too with the Democrat Party is policy. Because there's a lot of people on the left that say they don't do enough populist policy ideas. Like, for example, that whatever the Democrats promise in a campaign, they might do maybe 5 or 10% of what they promise. That they're not left enough, you want to call that, that they cater more to the elite, they cater more to the centrist, and some way even say almost a little bit lean right people. That that's part of the reasons why they've been losing elections, is that they're not populist enough. And I struggle with that because I wonder. I know those programs are popular. Not saying all of them, but some of them are popular. Medicaid for all, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know if they have the gumption to do that. And that's the thing. Where's the next level? Because a lot of people are thinking now, based on the last 24 hours, that the play now is for them to go more right now, more right on immigration. Okay, since immigration is the way we lost, we should be more hawkish immigration. I don't know, man. This is going to be a 2-3 year test case to see what direction they go in. But I think anything they do moving forward, it cannot involve the names Biden, Clinton, Pelosi, Schumer. They got to move away from that and really refresh that. And look, they have some talented politicians there. Josh Shapiro, Andy Bashir. I'm not a Gavin Newsom fan, but he has a look. There's talent. Wes Moore. There's talented Democratic people on the bench that they can start investing in, but they need to invest and stop relying on the Obamas every single time. Because for the record, hate to say it, Obama don't have the juice anymore.
No
And
juice.
when I say by that is this, it's one thing to cater to your base. That's gonna happen. Whatever, big deal. The juice is, can you pull in moderates and independents? He didn't do that. He did not do that in this cycle. He didn't do it in 2016. He didn't do it this time around. Clearly, he lost the juice.
No, I agree completely. I hear exactly what you're saying. I am going to just challenge a little bit on
Go
the
ahead.
direction of the party, because I do
Right.
feel like what happens, in my interpretation or my opinion, Democrats tend to run on center left, center right positions, but then when they get in power, they govern and they cater to the far left. That's what Joe Biden's problem was. A lot of
Right.
the things that they talk about when they talk about um, keeping taxes low and being energy independent and things like that. But then they get in and they go, well, we're going to do a $40 trillion Green New Deal, and we're going to have open borders because we want these voters. You, Campaigning on an issue and then catering to they cater to the far left of their party. They're so afraid of turning away the far left. That's how you get these things with the trans discussions and the abortion discussions and stuff like that. It The social issues and things like that become a supersect to common everyday kitchen issues. and
Right.
and that's the part that turns people off. It's not I don't believe a vast majority of people are homophobic. I don't believe a lot of people, or a vast majority, are transphobic. I don't believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't believe that. I think that there's a lot that people don't understand, but I think that because we don't try to educate, and again, we don't try to listen, we don't try to educate, we don't try to acknowledge
You go 1 to
why
10.
people feel the way they feel,
Yeah.
then, and instead of just constantly calling them names, this is what you're going to get. You've had 4 years of calling not just MAGA Republicans, but you're calling MAGA Republicans all of these names. And what's happened, I believe, is you have a bunch of people in the Rust Belt, you got a bunch of people in the Midwest, you got a bunch of everyday folks, just mom and dad trying to go to work, trying to raise a family, trying to buy a home, trying to do these things, who get wrapped up in this, and they go, "Well, I don't understand. Why do we have to have you know uh, biological men play with in female sports? Why do we have to have tampons in men's bathrooms? Why are these things the way they are?" And when they consume their content media,
Yeah.
they feel like they're getting swept up in, and yes, there bigots in the world, yes. Are there racists in the world, yes. Are there
Absolutely.
misogynists? Absolutely. I mean, it'd be
Mhm.
foolish to say that that's not true. There
Right.
absolutely are. I'm sure there are people who say, "I'll never vote for a woman for president." Is that the overwhelming majority of the electorate that you're going after? Of course not. You write those people off, but man, can you bridge with a message? And again, look at how Trump did it with abortion, just saying, "Hey, yes, we kicked it back to the states. We kicked it back to the states. We kicked it back to the states." And look what happened. There were what, 7, 8 initiatives on the ballots across the country, and all but one in Florida. knock on wood for me
Yeah.
being pro-life, but they
Yeah.
all passed. This is exactly what this is exactly
It's doing
what
its intended
this is what was
purpose.
intended. This is exactly what was intended.
Even though I am definitely like, I'm definitely pro-choice, and I definitely, when it comes to the abortion situation, I do see the argument for state rights. I do see the argument right with that, but it is doing the intended purpose, to be honest with you.
It absolutely is, and that and and to the fault of the Republicans for the most part, they don't do a really good job of explaining federalism and explaining
They don't.
why
They
the
don't.
power of the states are so important and why if you want change, that women, if you want this change, or pro-choice folks, then you do it at the local and the state level.
Yeah.
That's where the power really is. It's not.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a top-down federal big large ass federal government that doesn't work. But
And
anyway, we're getting on a
yeah.
tangent.
No worries.
Yeah, no. So going back to your question, yes, the Democrats need to find a better way of messaging and need to find a new face to do it. The tried and true Hollywood celebs, elitist, um, that whole campaign uh, formula
It's fake.
is
No
tired.
one wants. It's
It's
tired. It's been
and
tired.
and
And
and not only that,
I've been saying for years, it's been tired. Like, come on, okay, we get it. Yes, Beyonce, we get it, cool, but come on.
but the problem, yeah, and the problem is the electorate is a lot more engaged and a lot smarter now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you could do that because there was clout in a lot of the successful Hollywood people. I mean, I think the electorate is a lot more keen to, yeah, okay, you can have your opinion, Oprah, but when you go out and you say you got to vote, or this is the last time you may ever cast a ballot, okay, you've just de-incentivized your entire message. Because it's
Don't get me started on
ridiculous.
her. Right?
It's
Don't get me started
ridiculous.
on her. Don't get
They
me
they
started on that
say
woman.
these, talking about you got people on MSNBC. Well, Trump gets elected, we're gonna get thrown in jail as journalists. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. People listen to that stuff, and that's what turns them off. You go that this is
Yeah.
silly. Okay, listen. If you want to talk about having the rich pay their fair share, okay, tell me what the fair share is. Explain to me how pulling money out of the private sector, redistributing it into the public sector is going to grow the economy, right? Why is spending so much money and printing money and hyperinflation to boost social programs? Why is that a good thing? How does that work in the long term? They don't do that. Instead, they just go, "Well, you just don't understand. You're not smart enough. You don't you know." Again, it's attacking the electorate. It's attacking people who
Mm-hmm.
don't think the way that you do, instead of trying to educate them. And again, Trump didn't do a great job at it at all, especially for somebody like me who would have loved to have a more polished and more traditional, conservative politician. But to his credit, when he gets out there, and it's rudimentary, but when he explains, listen, criminals, illegal immigrant criminals. And I will say too, real quick, because I know we got to wrap it up, but
Yeah.
I was really, really hesitant and skeptical on JD Vance when they picked JD Vance.
I was just gonna
That
ask you that about JD Vance.
that guy in the window from when he was picked to where he is now has really impressed me. Very, very, very much. He is the kind
He will
of, at
be.
least
I was telling. Yeah.
as far as content and delivery goes, kind of what I'm looking for. That vice presidential debate with Walls was fantastic. He was fantastic because there is the George W. Bush compassionate conservative side. You can be that. You can listen to the other side and say, I understand, how devastating it would be for a woman to, you know, have to try to survive a botched abortion. I understand that. I empathize with that. I've had struggles with, with substance abuse in my family, so I understand those things. But this is
Yeah.
why I think there's a better way of doing it. The way he framed those arguments and framed those debates, and turned them into, this is why I believe what I believe, is exactly what I was looking for. So, like, I'm really, really excited about the future of the Republican Party with regards to a guy like JD Vance. Um, and again, like we said, he may be falling in at the right time, and I think that's what Democrats need to do. They need to learn to listen to people that they don't agree with, acknowledge the fact that, we don't always have to agree on everything. Let's try to find some common ground, or at least let me explain my side in a way that you may not like it, but at least you can acknowledge where I'm coming from. That's what they got to do.
All right. I already predicted 2028. It's Vance against Shapiro.
I maybe I'm not as plugged in as you are. The Josh Shapiro thing. I mean, I've heard him talk a couple of times. I'm not super impressed. I would think probably it'd be
But
Gavin Newsom.
I just think well maybe, but I think Shapiro, number one, the importance of Pennsylvania, obviously the last 3 cycles now and how important that state is, and I think he was already a finalist for the VP stakes as it was this cycle. I think at this point it feels like he has a little bit of juice. He won. He's very popular in the state, for the record. He won his state by a pretty decent margin for governor. So I think Shapiro definitely. I would put him as the early favorite for the president, at least for the primary, for Democrats, of course. But I think obviously JD Vance now by virtue of being VP, unless Trump really fucks up the next 4 years, he's minted to be the next guy.
Don't put it past him. I'm gonna put it past him.
Anyway, yeah, I know. He's Trump.
It's gonna be interesting.
One more thing we got you out here. Yeah, well, sports related. When's the Chiefs' first loss coming?
Maybe to Denver. Probably to Buffalo.
That's schedule.
Probably to Buffalo.
Yeah.
But Buffalo has Kansas City's number in the regular season. That game means so much to the Bills. And this is the great thing about being a Chiefs fan. This is a great thing about watching them this year and hearing all the hysteria about how they're not winning the right way.
Yeah.
They're not throwing a lot of points. Mahomes looks pedestrian, blah, blah, blah. I mean, listen, I don't know this to be a fact. I'm not in the locker room. To me, I've watched every Chiefs game except for the Raiders game this year. They are just doing the bare minimum. Right? They are like Peter Gibbons showing up at Office Space. They're like, I just want to do the bare minimum till I get to 5 o'clock, and then when the weekend comes, I can turn it loose. Right? They're waiting for the playoffs. They're not trying to.
Yeah.
And that's what's scary is that the defense is elite. Right? Mahomes is Mahomes. He's going to be there. It's nice to see Kelsey get worked back into. And to be fair, God, the injuries. I mean, when Hollywood Brown fell and broke his collarbone or whatever it was during that first preseason game, like, you got to be kidding me. Like, there's no way we're gonna repeat now. I mean, it's the injury bug, and then Pacheco and Juju Smith-Schuster and like all these guys are getting hurt, and you're just like, man alive.
Yeah.
But they have the best coach in the league. They have the best quarterback in the league. They have the best defense in the league. They're just like, if we go undefeated, great. If we go 8-7, great. I don't think they care. I honestly don't think they care. They're just like, we're just gonna get in the playoffs and we'll do our thing.
That's scary. That's very scary. And the thing is, their schedule, like, no one's talking about them going unbeaten because I don't think anybody sees it. But after Buffalo, they can run the table. To me, the loss I would see would be the Chargers game, if anything, just because the Chargers are tough. Chargers are tough.
We get them in Kansas City in the next game. I mean, that first game they played in LA. So there's that. Again, everybody, and again, to the Chiefs, everybody plays. They play outside of themselves, right? Baltimore plays outside of itself as a run-heavy team. They try to pass to beat the Chiefs, right? The Chargers, they had that. You can't run on them, so you got to try to figure out ways to get around that. The only team that I think will get them will be Buffalo. Allen's going to be ramped up. Their defense is going to be ramped up. That's a game that Buffalo has to win. I mean, if Kansas City wins in Denver and they beat Buffalo, you've locked up the 1 seed in week 10, right? You're 3 games ahead of everybody else, 4 games ahead of everybody else. Then it's on cruise control at that point.
Yeah, you have that. There's tiebreakers too with Baltimore and Buffalo.
It's Arrowhead Invitational at that point. Yeah. So it's been cool. It's been cool. It's cool to see, like, if they got to score 34 points, like Tampa, that defense was not. I don't know. They weren't dialed in. Okay, Mahomes scores 34 points, right?
Yeah,
Defense is dialed in against the Chargers, score 17 points. Well, just get enough touchdowns to win the game. Atlanta, you need to stop on 4th down. Nick Bolton, just make a play. Chris Jones, just make a play. Like, they just got guys. They got dudes who just go out there, and Karlaftis, and just like, we need a play. Make a play. We need a touchdown. And then, of course, we get D Hobbs, which I think, like, Mahomes got to be like, man, this is crazy.
He played well on Monday too.
He played well on
He's
Monday. He's
cooking.
fitting
He's
right
cooking.
in,
He's
man.
gonna cook.
We get Rice
Yeah.
back. We get Pacheco back. I mean,
So
I
dangerous.
don't want to get ahead of myself, but
It's
I'm
unfair. It's unfair. It's
cautiously
unfair.
cautiously optimistic that we could three-peat. And then I got
In
to find another place to
yeah,
put a
you know I love.
tattoo on my body.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, you didn't see.
Anyway, it's Torrey M.
If you can
No,
see
no,
that,
no, no. Let me see it. No,
I
let me
got
see it.
yeah, never a doubt.
Oh, it's right. Well, no, you did show
Never a
it
doubt.
on you did show it actually on Facebook. I think
Got to
months ago. Yeah, you did show.
put next one's gonna be hat trick Mahomes.
Yeah, if he gets
Hat
repeat,
trick,
man, I'm telling you, the goat thing
hat
is
trick.
done. Exactly, hat trick Mahomes.
But
Yes. Anyway, Torrey
let's
M.
on to Denver.
Go ahead.
No, I was just
Yep,
gonna say
yep.
we're on to Denver, one game at a time. Hey man, I
Yep.
appreciate it.
Torrey M. Spears on X
On
/ Twitter.
X.
We'll talk
Yes,
soon.
sir.
Great job as always, man.
Thanks, brother. Have a good night.
Great conversation there by Torrey M. Spears. As we get through this next segment here before we get going, it's gonna be a little different this time here because normally we record our best bets here. We're gonna do a week 10 best bets in the NFL. Week 10 about to start. We started the show doing a bit of a over-unders check-in, and then now we're going to close the show up with our best bets. Zach can't make it, unfortunately, because of scheduling issues, so we're going to skip our competition this week because of that. But although I'm way ahead of him now, I've now won every week. I think I'm 8-1 against Zach right now. So, but what I'll do still is give my picks this week. What are the best bets this week that I believe are the best bets for this week in the NFL? Going forward for each game, it could be whatever spread I pick of each team. It could be the over under of each game. It depends. So here we go. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to the picks here. First game, we got the big Thursday night football game tonight, as we're recording tonight. Bengals at Ravens. The Ravens are 6-point favorites. The over unders for 3.5. I think the Ravens win this game, but I like the Bengals on the points here. Honestly, I think it's an AFC North slobber knocker. It's a game that obviously the Bengals need. The AFC wildcard picture is getting really weird. I believe that the barometer to make the playoffs in the AFC now is lowered to 9 wins, and I could also honestly see a scenario where an 8-win team gets into the playoffs, and the Bengals are probably one of those teams that are in the mix to get there. Now, if they win this game, it's a huge win. They'll be right in the mix, right? Maybe a game behind, maybe even a 7th seed at a point. If things work out a certain way this weekend. But I like the Ravens to win this game still. They're still a better team, more dependable. But I do like the Cincinnati points. Bengals pass defense is pretty terrible. So there's that. Okay. Sunday morning game. Oh my God. The Mimosa Bowl. The Shame Bowl here, when they call that. Giants at Panthers. Well, Giants Panthers in London. Giants 6.5-point favorites, over under 40. I don't give a damn if it's the Panthers. The Giants shouldn't be favored by anybody by 6.5 points. I'm sorry. I don't give a damn. Give me the under this game. Give me the under this game. I don't care. Even as a Giants fan, I'm saying that. All right. Patriots at Bears. The Bears are 6-point favorites, over under 38.5. I took the under on this game. I see a little scoring matchup here. Drake May is a little bit of spark in this team, man. A little bit of spark. Bills at Colts. The Bills are 4-point favorites. The over number is 48 points. This is a spot here with the Colts. This has a trap game feel to it. But I'm going to go with my gut here. I think the Bills, if they're not looking ahead to KC next week, I think they'll find a way to win this game. Josh Allen's having a phenomenal year. I think he's only thrown 2 picks all year long. Give me the Bills to cover 4 points here. Indy, it's a little bit of a worry here, but I think Buffalo will find a way to win this game by a touchdown or something. All right. Broncos at Chiefs. The Chiefs are 9-point favorites. The over-under is 41.5. I'm taking the Chiefs with -9. Strange because the Chiefs don't cover spreads as much as they should, but I think they'll do it this week. I think Denver's going to start falling off now, which is why the wild card picture in the AFC is a lot more undefined right now. How about this one? Falcons at Saints. The Falcons are 4-point favorites. The over-under is 46.5. I'm taking the Falcons. The Saints had just fired their coach, Dennis Allen. Although typically what happens when you get the fired coach, the interim coach in there, the team just get fired up. But the Saints are a mess, man. They were an absolute mess. The Falcons, I mean, they could let down here. They really could, because we do call them here on the show the fraud cons for a reason. But that being said, I will still take the Falcons here, even though I'm probably wrong, but we'll see. All right. Niners at Buccaneers. The Niners are 6-point favorites, over under 51. I took the over in this one. I see a lot of scoring. I believe Christian McCaffrey is clear to play this game too, especially. So the Niners are getting a big boost. I still got them as the favorites and win the NFC West until otherwise. So give me the Niners to win, but I'm taking the over as the best bet in this game. Another game, this is my game of the week here. Steelers at Commanders. Commanders are 2.5-point favorites. The over under is 45.5. I'm taking the under. Steelers defense will keep things close. TJ Watt is going to be the guy to watch. This is, the Commanders. I think they're a really good team. I think they're going to probably be a playoff team, but I still need to see more, especially against good teams. And this is the first good game, the first competitive. What is that competitive? First team they're playing a schedule that's actually on level right now. This is before the big showdown gets Philadelphia next week. Anyway, next one. I took the under that one, by the way. All right, Vikings at Jaguars. The Vikings are 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is 45 points. I got the Vikings that one. Jaguars are done. Vikings have, they barely survived against Indy last week. They come to earth a little bit now, but I still think the Vikings win this game. Titans at Chargers. The Chargers are 7.5-point favorites. The over-under is 38.5. Even though the Chargers are mostly a conservative ball control team, I will still take the Chargers to cover 7.5 points. The Titans are absolute garbage. Okay, they are garbage. I know they beat the Patriots last week, but it's the Patriots. Come on now, come on. Eagles at Cowboys. The Cowboys are 7-point favorites. The over under is 43. Obviously, Dak Prescott's out multiple weeks with a bad hammy. The Eagles are starting to cook now. Although that game against Jacksonville last week, that was a bad look. At the end, they almost blew that game, but they won, and they cost me a parlay too, for the record. So fuck you, Eagles. All right, Jets at Cardinals. The Jets are 1-point favorites. The over under is 46 points. I think the Jets win this game, but I'm taking the best bet as the under. Cardinals. This is a spot. They've been playing good football last couple of weeks, but this is a spot where they'll start to they'll lose a game. This when you start believing this team in Kyler Murray and the little man syndrome, as we call that. This is where they simply blow it. So, but I'm going to bet the under. The best bet here is the under in this game at 46. All right, Lions at Texans, another big game of the week. Lions are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 49 points. I already said earlier in the podcast, the Lions, to me, are the best team in football right now, I believe. Them and the Chiefs. Very well balanced. The Texans, a good team. Like I said, the Texans are a good team, but they are a playoff team, but they're not a Super Bowl contender. Look, until someone can prove to me they can beat Detroit, I'm not lining up with Detroit. Give me Detroit to cover 3.5 points in Houston. And then finally, Monday Night Football, we have the Dolphins at the Rams. The Rams are now 1-point favorites. The over-under is 50. This is easy. This game could go either way. It's going to be a great game, actually. Tua's back, especially now. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a lot of points on the board. Give me the over. I think it's the easy over, especially at 50 points. For me, again, I am 8-1 against Zach this year so far. I'm on our picks. No Zach this week since schedule conflict. So we're going to skip the competition this week because he's out. But come on, I'm crushing him now at this point now. He has no space to come back. He'll have to run a table going forward. And yeah, I'm having a phenomenal year. So anyway, other than that will do it for today's podcast. The Thursday edition of the podcast on X at EJ Christian 7. Check out the sorry about that. My YouTube page at Earnest Christian on YouTube. Other than that, I am going to get some sleep. I am exhausted. You see my eyes, so I made it another hour and so minutes. I'm gonna rest now. Love you guys. Take it easy, and yeah, see ya.